Hello and welcome everyone to BN by IAS. Let us have a look at all the articles which are important for UPSC examination from The Hindu on 21st July 2022. The articles that we are going to cover are, the one is related to anti-defection, another one related to Aksai Chin, then SC clearing 27% OBC quota for local body polls in Maharashtra, and Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, the cost of misrepresenting inflation. You'll understand about inflation and various causes. Then another thing related to Maoist or Red Corridor. Then the continuation of the yesterday's article, that is more and more heat waves in Europe. Then another important fact for prelims, that is Cheetahs reintroduction in India. Then Iran and Russia bilateral relations and implications for India. Then what RBI is doing in order to defend our falling rupee against the dollar. Then finally RBI's initiative, that is central bank's digital currency initiative. So all these articles are important for UPSC examination. Please remember, we are not covering the editorials as of now. We will be bringing them separately. Now going ahead, let us cover the very first one. See, the title is SC asks if Shinde faction dissent amounts to split. See, here the news is not so relevant for us. It can be used as an example, but the background behind it, that is the anti-defection law, this is more important. See, what is anti-defection law, when it was introduced, see what is the schedule related to it, what are the provisions of it. These are all the things which are important for UPSC prelims and mains, and this is a very frequently found topic. The anti-defection law was introduced with 52nd Amendment Act in 1985 to to reduce any kind of defections and to bring stability to the political parties. So first of all, what is the meaning of defection? Suppose say if a person wins, let's say this person wins the election on the party ticket of X, but after winning jump to party of Y. So this is called defection. So sometimes it is also used as horse trading of legislators. Now it was introduced to reduce such sort of defections, but later some issues were there. Later with 91st Amendment Act, it has strengthened further, जहां पर दे हैव इंट्रोड्यूस्ड, जैसे मर्ज होता है पार्टीज, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल एक्स एंड वाई पार्टी इज देयर, यहां से लेट्स से 18 मेंबर्स आर देयर, out of 18 12 members are willing to join party Y. So that means 2/3 of the strength is trying to join another party, merge करना चाहते हैं. ऐसे टाइम पे it does not amount to defection, and even those one third as well as 2/3 members will not be deemed as defected persons. ऐसे exemptions लेकर आया है 91st amendment के थ्रू, ठीक है. Plus further it has been strengthened and you can see that 15% of cap and everything, and it does not penalize the political parties for encouraging or accepting defense legislators. So this is the next development. Then one more thing that we need to understand is, earlier anti-defection was not under the purview of judicial review. Later in Kitoho Holohan case, please remember Kitoho Holohan case, Supreme Court said that judicial review is part of the basic structure and nothing is above it. So even this anti-defection law comes under judicial review. Plus one more thing, please remember, the disqualifications related to defection, they are determined by the chairman and there is no time fixed time frame that within this much of time you have to take the decision. तो इसी को लेकर कई बार ऐसे होता था कि 2-3 साल तक पेंडिंग होता था. देन रिसेंटली सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने चेयरमैन से पूछा है, लाइक इट हैज गिवन ए डायरेक्शंस दैट इट हैज टू बी डेल्ट, इट हैज टू बी taken, the decision has to be taken within 3 months of the filing. ये सारे developments हुआ है. These are all the important ones for us. Now going ahead, the next article is related to Aksai Chin. See, China is building another highway, new highway via Aksai Chin. So please remember this. This is with respect to our sovereignty. And here, as it is building more and more highways and roads, so that means it is no encroaching into our territorial integrity. Because this area is occupied by China, which was part of India. नाउ दिस इज सी यहाँ पर हमें मैप देखना जरूरी है मैप में व्हाट इज अक्साई चीन एंड पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर एंड दिस इज द वन विच इज अंडर द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ इंडिया जम्मू एंड कश्मीर रीजन नाउ यहाँ पर जो सियाचिन ग्लेशियर है दिस इज द हाईएस्ट पॉइंट वेयर वी हैव द कंट्रोल एंड कमांड एंड दिस पर्टिकुलर पोर्शन ऑफ Pakistan occupied Kashmir has been given to China. Now through this the CPEC China Pakistan economic corridor is going. These are all the points that we need to remember. Now going ahead, the third article is SC clears 27% OBC quota for local body polls. So what is the new development here? And the issues related to it. Recently 27% reservation for OBCs in local bodies of Maharashtra has been cleared. Now the issue earlier it was stayed because it was exceeding that 50% limit. See, in 1992 in Indra Sanve versus Union of India case, Supreme Court ruled that 50% of ceiling must not be breached for reservation in any state. Of course there are some exceptions like Tamil Nadu, even present EWS economic weaker sections जो है ये भी breach करता है. The matter is in Supreme Court, but ये वाला breach नहीं होना चाहिए. So it was earlier breaching, now it has been reduced. That is the reason why it has cleared it. So now please all these related information like Mandal Commission and the recommendations of Mandal Commission and based on it bringing the reservation as of now, the roughly saying what is the reservation that is present now. The 27% for OBCs, even though their population then constitute almost 52%, then 15% for SC scheduled caste, 7.5% for scheduled tribes, and 10% for economically weaker sections. So this is the present one, which is I think going up to 59.5%, which is exceeding 50%. That is the reason why this matter is being referred to Supreme Court now. So these are all the information related to it. Now moving on to the next article, medical termination of pregnancy act. क्यों न्यूज में क्यों था? बिकॉज रिसेंटली दिल्ली का हाई कोर्ट जो है इट अलाउड ए माइनर रेप विक्टिम टू टर्मिनेट प्रेगनेंसी इवन आफ्टर 26 वीक्स. एक्चुअली प्रेगनेंसी एक्ट जो है पहले वाला 1971 वाला इट अलाउज फॉर ओनली 20 वीक्स. तो अप टू 20 वीक्स तक यू कैन हैव ए मेडिकल टर्मिनेशन. देन लेटेस्ट अमेंडमेंट जो आया है दैट हैज एक्सटेंडेड अप टू 24 वीक्स. बट हाउएवर इसमें भी कुछ ऐसे हैं, if there are some special cases, so under those special cases it can be increased up to 26 weeks. For this you need to take the permission and RMTs registered medical practitioners जो है RMPs, इनका अगर 24 वीक से बियॉन्ड जा रहे हैं तो 2 members का परमिशन लेना होगा. You have to take the recommendation of it. So there is a clear cut guidelines under what conditions you can go for it. Suppose 24 beyond 24 weeks के बाद if any person like there is a fatal disease to the fetus or if there is a grave danger to the mother, then it can be allowed. ठीक है, ये सारी चीजें हमें देखना होगा. So on the basis of it we can do the analysis. So that is what it is important here. Apart from that rest of the things are normal. Now going ahead, the next one is the cost of misrepresenting inflation. तो यहाँ पर inflation से related, what is inflation? It is general rise in the prices of all the most of the goods and services. And इसमें what are the different types of inflations? Then what are the causes of inflation? जैसे factors जो होता है like pushing factors and pulling factors. ठीक है, इसमें and you can say like demand side and supply side factors. जैसे डिमांड बढ़ने की वजह से जो इन्फ्लेशन होता है राइज एंड सप्लाई बढ़ने की वजह से जो इन्फ्लेशन आता है, इन दोनों को कवर करना होगा. एंड मेजरिंग ऑफ दिस इन्फ्लेशन इन इंडिया, सी प्राइमरली वी हैव टू मेन इंडिसेस टू मेजर इट. वन इज होलसेल प्राइस इंडेक्स, अनदर वन इज कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स. इसमें भी कुछ रिसेंटली चेंजेस आया है लाइक विद रेस्पेक्ट टू द बेस ईयर एंड ऑल. वी नीड टू रिमेंबर दोस थिंग्स. एंड यहाँ पर देखो see generally they measure the wholesale and retail level price changes. CPI calculates the difference in the prices of commodities and services such as food, medical, education, electronics, etc. On other hand, goods and services sold by the business to smaller businesses for selling further is captured by the wholesale price index. So both of them give us a clear picture of inflation. There is another thing which gives us the news or information related to inflation is GDP deflator. Okay, GDP deflator also gives us the general rise in the prices. Okay, so these are all the points which are important for us for prelims as well as mains as well. Okay, now moving ahead, the next article is Maoist area, that is the title is a fatal blow to the Maoist. See, a pushback by security forces and the arrest of key leaders have now affected the movement. See, यहाँ पर we need to understand about the Maoist and the Red Corridor area and efforts taken by the government. For example, Ministry of Home Affairs का एक scheme है, एक initiative है, that is called समाधान. ठीक है, through which it is reducing this left wing extremism. इसी को कहते हैं left wing extremism, particularly Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Jharkhand, these locations, they are the most affected. West Bengal, इस locations में there are extreme factions which are fighting against the government and trying to bring radical changes there. So इनको कहते हैं extremists, and this area is called left wing extremist affected area or red corridor भी कहते हैं इसी को. इसको रिड्यूस करने के लिए वेरियस स्कीम्स आर देयर, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल इनका रिहैबिलिटेशन करना, उन वहां पर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बढ़ाना, यहाँ पर जो भी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स है उनके लिए स्पेशल फंड दिया जाता है so that we can take the developmental activities there and we can provide the employment and we can reform them. So these are all the things. Along with that, we have various operations taken by like black commandos hai, ya the paramilitary forces. These guys, they take various operations here and there will be reduction of this Maoists. Okay, so these are all the things which are needed, and this particular one is important in GS paper 3, that is internal security. Internal security. Okay, so this is the background information we need to look at. Now going ahead, the next one is continuation of the topic that we have been discussing, that is more and more heat waves in across Europe. See, it's because of global warming and ongoing climate change. As a result of it, extreme events are happening and rise in the temperatures are happening. So we have seen that in Europe location, the average temperatures are increasing, which is causing more and more heat waves, and as a result of it, forest fires. So when these forest fires happen, what will happen? So it leads to loss of like vegetation and further releasing of carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. It further increases the global warming. So these are all the issues, and in order to reduce it, what we need to do? We need to reduce our carbon emissions. See, यहाँ पर you can carbon emissions, we can bring the points related to Glasgow summit and then carbon neutrality and Paris agreement. इन सारे से related चीजें लेकर आ सकते हैं यहाँ पर. ठीक है? So, and please remember, we need to look at the forest fires, what are the causes behind them and what are the implications of it. So these are all the things which are needed for this background study. Now moving on to the next one, that is Cheetah reintroduction program. See, this has been in news for a long time. We have we had this initiative of introduction of cheetah, which got extinct in India. Then we have collaborated with African nation, that is Namibia. So from Namibia, after spending almost 260 crore rupees, we are trying to introduce cheetah, African cheetah, into India. So इसके लिए proper research करके, first of all we have finalized Kuno National Park as an ideal location for it, because cheetah is a territorial creature and it is highly depending upon the local environment. So all these conditions are available and they are good in Kuno National Park. That is the reason why this site has been selected. Now, with respect to this cheetah, we need to look at some of the facts, its vulnerability status and all. See, it is one of the oldest and biggest, and it is the fastest land mammal, and in IUCN it is listed as vulnerable, whereas with respect to, we have two types of cheetahs as of now, like Asiatic cheetah, which is generally found in Iran now, so it is critically endangered. and another one is African cheetah, that is the one which we have seen it here vulnerable. ठीक है, now we are trying to bring it because India में चीता का extinction जो है 1952 में हो गया था, so now it is likely to come before 15th of August, that is Independence Day. So these are all the things that are important for this particular news article. Going ahead, the next one is what does Putin want from Iran? तो इसका बैकग्राउंड रिसर्च करना होगा हमें. What is the background research that we need to do? The Iran and Russia's bilateral relations, particularly recent days after the sanctions of UNO on US, you can say US sanctions on Iran, then recently the same sanctions on Russia as well after the Ukraine war. So as a result of like same sanctions faced by these two countries, they are coming closer. And of course, see, hamara interest, why do we need to look at it? Because India has interest in it. Because we have heavily invested in Iran, Chabahar port, but वहां पर sanctions लगने की वजह से हमारा investment almost $2.5 billion ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट जो है वो वहां पर फंसा हुआ है हमारा. ठीक है, एंड सेकेंड थिंग इज हमारा जो एस्पिरेशंस था कनेक्टिंग दी सेंट्रल एशिया थ्रू ईरान इज आल्सो नॉट पॉसिबल नाउ, पर्टिकुलरली अफगानिस्तान में अब तालिबान रिजाइम आ गया. एंड सेकेंड थिंग इज रशिया के साथ हमारा स्ट्रेटेजिक रिलेशंस है, काफी अच्छा रिलेशंस है. तो इन ऑर्डर टू बैलेंस बोथ ऑफ देम, and right now with respect to energy security and future possibilities and further developments and diplomatic ties में इंडिया का इंटरेस्ट है दोनों जगह पे. That's the reason why we are closely watching and we are closely following the developments that are happening between Russia and Iran. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर इनका जो अभी जो चल रहा है, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल एनर्जी डील है, देन see Russia is already reducing its energy supply to Europe. जो नॉर्डम जो है वहां पर पाइप के थ्रू 10 डेज का हॉल्ट भी लग गया था अभी, जो नेचुरल गैस वगैरह देते थे, एंड दिस नेचुरल गैस का क्वांटिटी जो है वो भी कम कर रहा है. तो इट कैन डाइवर्सिफाई इट्स एनर्जी एक्सपोर्ट्स टू अदर लोकेशंस. इंडिया इज आल्सो बाइंग फ्रॉम रशिया. Indian oil जो है we are buying from Russia. Recently we have covered in the 2 days back, we have covered in the news that Russia and India are settling this oil in UAE dirhams. ठीक है, ये वाला देखा था हमने, प्लस रुपी में भी हम ट्रेड कर रहे थे. So these are all the issues that we need to look at and the implications of them on India and what are the interests of India. See, when it comes to the final points, India always it has to act in the interests of the country, like the country and the people. Of course, we always uphold the global peace. We are always committed to the global peace and disarmament, and we are against the war. But however, when it comes to these, of course, we keep our interests forefront and we fight for those interests, right? So that is the entire thing that we need to look at here. Then going ahead, the next article is RBI to defend rupee. देखो 2 दिन से हम न्यूज में देख रहे थे कि रुपी इज फॉलिंग अगेंस्ट द डॉलर, and whenever that has happened, see it has reached to the record low of 80 rupees से भी ज्यादा हो गया था इसका डॉलर एंड रुपी का एक्सचेंज. See, I told you इंडिया का केस में we follow a managed floating rate. ठीक है, floating exchange rate, जहां पर see we allow exchange based on the market forces of supply and demand. However, the supply and demand is managed by the central bank, that is RBI. कैसे मैनेज करते हैं? फॉर एग्जाम्पल रुपी एंड डॉलर आर देयर. लेट्स से रुपी का वैल्यू अगेंस्ट द डॉलर इज फॉलिंग, so that means डॉलर का डिमांड ज्यादा बढ़ रहा है इंडिया का केस में. दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई वी आर लूजिंग इट अगेंस्ट द डॉलर. अंडर दो सर्कमस्टेंसेस व्हाट आरबीआई डज इज, इसके पास जो भी फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व पे जो भी डॉलर होगा, इट सेल्स एंड बाइज द रुपी, देयर बाय रुपी का डिमांड बढ़ेगा, तब इसका जो फॉलिंग वैल्यू जो है दैट गेट्स स्टेबलाइज्ड. अब आरबीआई ने क्या किया था? सी इन कंटिन्यूएशन ऑफ दिस, आरबीआई ने क्या किया था? इट इज रेडी टू वेज 100 बिलियन रुपीज टू डिफेंड रुपी. जैसे रुपी का वैल्यू गिर रहा है, तो वी आर व्हाट आरबीआई इज डूइंग, इट हैज like foreign exchange reserves of almost 640 billion in September. Now it has reduced, of course, because of the increasing oil prices and other reasons, but still we have considerable amount of foreign exchange reserves. उसमें से 100 billion dollars को बेचकर we are going to strengthen our rupee. So that is the entire issue here. Please remember this managed floating exchange rate and how RBI does that. Next, moving on to next one, another one is related to RBI, and the last one, that is central bank digital currency. It was announced in the budget speech of 2022-23, जहां पर ये बोला है कि RBI is going to bring its own central bank digital currency. Now, first of all, what is digital currency? It's a kind of virtual or digital form of currency which is fiat currency, which can be transacted using wallets backed by the blockchain technology. The one advantage that we get it, see, ऐसे currencies और भी हैं, जैसे cryptocurrencies are there, bitcoins are there, all of them are there. But the advantage that we are going to get from CBDC is it is backed by the RBI. That means it is going to become a like a strong backing will be there from the RBI. So इसका fluctuations and volatility जो है वो कम रहेगा. So that is the advantage here, and that is going to increase the transparency when we are doing it in digital currency formats. All the transactions, the transparency increases, and obviously the scope for like using it for other purposes like illegal purposes के लिए जो है वो कम हो जाएगा, and tax base में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आने का चांस है. So these are all the advantages of it. So that's it, guys. This is all for this particular day. I hope it is useful. If it is, please like, share and subscribe, and do comment your opinion in the comment box. Thank you very much. See you in tomorrow's news analysis. Till then, take care. Bye everyone.